Okay, people, so we have more than just spoilers. We pretty much have the entirety of the chapter in text format for Boruto chapter 58. Now, I haven't read a lick of it other than I want to say I think I know a little bit of what the cover page is going to be, but I don't know jack diddly squat of what's about to happen, so consider this, I guess, a live reaction-esque type of deal. But because it's very heavy, there's a lot of text, it's just ginormous. I'm gonna read straight through and then we're gonna talk in between because yeah, there's a lot to cover with this chapter. Without further ado, people, let's get into it. Boruto 58 spoilers.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, and these translations and spoilers are all courtesy of Organic Dinosaur over on Twitter. Now, for the cover page, apparently it's going to be of Code, Amado, Ada, Kawaki, Shikamaru, Naruto, Sasuke, Boruto, Shikadai, holy cow, Chocho, Mitsuki, Inojin, Sarada, and Sumire. They continue to push Sumire, like, okay. Kawaki and Boruto are depicted larger and are splitting the center. All the other characters are lined up behind them in an alleyway. That kind of sounds dope. So let's just jump straight into it. Scene number 1, the Boba Pill saga continued. Side text, Boruto's Otsutsuki transformation is progressing. A method to avoid the worst possible outcome has emerged. The chapter opens at the Uzumaki household. Naruto and Boruto are sitting across from one another at the kitchen table. The bottle of Boba Pills is in between them, sitting on a dish. Boruto says, drugs? They'll suppress the Otsutsuki transformation? Yeah, that's right. Originally, it seems like it was something that was intended to be used for a different purpose, but we don't know if we can expect that sort of efficiency or if things will go smoothly. Boruto says, are you serious? If I take these, I won't turn into Momoshiki. Naruto says, I said that it's just going to suppress your progression. It doesn't mean that the karma itself will disappear. Your body has already been subjected to the Otsutsuki transformation to a certain extent. It's not as if it'll revert you back to normal. So basically just telling us what we already know, but kind of, informing Boruto on that from Naruto's perspective and whatnot. Boruto uncorks the bottle of pills. He pours 5 of them onto the plate and closely inspects them. Yo, what the hell is he about to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what we doing here, fam? It doesn't smell like anything. Is this all right with you? That's the most pressing issue. To be honest, we won't know what the side effects will be. In the worst case scenario, you could die. That's why I won't force you to go through with this. I'm saying that this is merely one of the options. You'll have to think this through for yourself about what you want to do and then make a decision. So basically, Naruto is peer pressuring his son to become a pill popper. Amazing. Boruto, fam. Boruto picks up one of the pills between his thumb and index finger. He stares at it and then pops it straight into his mouth. Naruto is completely dumbfounded. Boruto starts to roll the pills around his mouth while talking intermittently. It doesn't taste like anything in particular either. It's fine even without any water. How many pills do I need to take in a day? Meanwhile, Naruto is completely in a panic. He jumps up from his seat and slams both his hands onto the table. The dish and some of the pills have been jolted into the air. Naruto says, "Wah!" Well, it's actually one big long oi, to be exact. I guess he's, shocked that Boruto just popped them like nothing. Were you even listening to anything that I just said? Boruto seems a little sweaty and nervous. Boruto says, no, I clearly heard what you said. Dad, weren't you the one that said I'd be the one to make the decision anyway? Don't yell at me like this all of a sudden. Naruto's still in a panic, continuing to speak in a loud voice. Did you really think it through? How could you make such a hasty decision? Boruto is yelling back, spit flying. I just happened to make the decision right away. I don't know whatever side effects it might have. I wouldn't know unless I tried one anyway, right? How do you feel? Do you feel worse off or anything? Well, I feel fine for right now. In general, it might take some time before I settle on my resolve, but I already prepared myself for the worst since a long time ago, especially when it comes to karma. I had already made up my mind about my resolve. That's why I was so quick to make a decision about it. I'm the type of person who'll be prepared and determined about that resolve. That's all there was to my decision making. Sorry for making you worry about me, though. Naruto says, Boruto, why? Boruto says, thank you, Dad. I'm glad that you gave this to me so that I could use it. Tatebase. Boruto is holding the cork bottle, smiling. Good grief, this guy, Naruto says. And I believe that covered pages 1 through 8. So for the most part, it was honestly just Boruto making for like 8 pages the decision of, hey, should I take these pills? Granted, it was a very heavy decision, to be honest with you, if you think about it, because it's like, yo, he could die taking those pills, so I guess it's understandable that it would be a pressing issue. But I also rock with the fact that Boruto was like, I'm not gonna be scared. You know, the old bratty Boruto be like, hey, can't you give me something else? So again, showing a little bit of growth on Boruto's side of him just saying, you know what, let's do it. Let's try whatever it takes. Scene number 2, Kawaki versus Mitsuki and Sarada. Scene shifts to Kawaki, Mitsuki, Boruto, and Sarada casually sitting on the ground outside. Kawaki asks Boruto why he's taking drugs. Oh shit. Boruto replies that he knows that there are definitely risks, but he made his decision while fully understanding them. Mitsuki is speechless and Kawaki seems angry. Yo, this feels like this is an intervention scene. Kawaki asks Boruto about whatever happened to their plan to etch Code's body with karma. What's the point of taking this drug now before they battle? If Boruto dies, then everything will have been lost in vain. Boruto shouts back that Kawaki's plan was still just a hypothetical. Isn't that what Kawaki alleged anyway? There was no guarantee that it would work out, especially since they don't know how strong Code will be either. In typical combat scenario, they wouldn't be likely to win at any rate. Sarada interjects saying that Boruto and Kawaki have been noisy and complaining for a while now. Shouldn't they just shut up and be here to train? Facts! Shoutouts to Sarada. Facts, facts, facts. I love her. Konohamaru and Naruto are observing from somewhere above them. Holy shit! He lives! He exists! Konohamaru thinks Kawaki is being problematic because he doesn't come off as being very cooperative at all. Kawaki says he'll just put it bluntly, it's not like they'll be worthy enough opponents anyway. They're no match for Code. Boruto retorts that's why they're training to get stronger. Sarada yells at the two of them to stop messing around already. They're getting in the way of their own training time. Kawaki is fuming. He calls Sarada an asshole. Well, probably not that in particular. And then tells her to shut up, sit there quietly instead of butting in. Yo! He's about to get canceled. Sarada angrily replies that they're trying to do important things for chakra control. It's the most basic of the basics, but Kawaki is acting haughty despite being a newcomer at it. Kawaki says, having the basics is good enough for you guys, but if we keep going at it like this, how many years would it take for us to defeat Code? 5? 10? Don't make me laugh! Boruto yells back that Kawaki shouldn't be such an idiot about getting proper training. After all, Kawaki is the one who first got trained up in ninjutsu. Kawaki retorts that's not the point. It's about how much leeway they've got time-wise. Mitsuki pipes up and says that he understands what Kawaki is trying to say. Mitsuki then asks Kawaki about what he wants to do instead. Kawaki says that it's simple. They'll even like his suggestion too. Kawaki suddenly engorges his right arm and attacks Mitsuki. Mitsuki wraps his elongated arm around Kawaki's arm as a counter. Boruto and Sarada sit up and then step back. Kawaki thinks that Mitsuki's tactic wasn't that bad and that he even met Kawaki's expectations. Mitsuki says that Kawaki's intentions were predictable. Kawaki just wanted to do some actual combat training. Mitsuki doesn't mind engaging in it and says that he's fine with this type of training too. Konohamaru is about to jump in to defuse the situation from their observation deck. Again, holy shit, he's doing something. However, Naruto puts his arm in the way in front of Konohamaru. Oh, never mind. Never mind. He ain't doing shit. Get out of here, Trashamaru. Kono Trasharu. Just to block him from intervening. Sarada tries to tell them again that they shouldn't be doing things their own way or on such a whim. Sarada says, did you forget that I'm the leader of this team, motherfucker? You go, girl, yeah. Kawaki ignores Sarada. Kawaki continues on to say that he trained well under Jigen ever since he was a brat himself. Kawaki explains that almost all of his training that Jigen imposed upon him was actual combat training that involved bleeding out. That entire time was a living hell for him. Kawaki reiterates that he would have been better off dead, however that was impossible for him. I told myself I was tired of seeing that damn bastard's face. I wanted the power to kill that guy with my own hands. Bearing that in mind wholeheartedly, I suddenly got stronger. Kawaki goes on to mention that the methods themselves were actually quite reasonable though. They made a lot of sense. Kawaki then detaches the morph part of his arm to Mitsuki's surprise. Kawaki then re-engorges his right arm to attack Mitsuki again. I like this little Kawaki versus Mitsuki stuff, to be honest with you. I know I'm interjecting, but I just had to say it. Mitsuki dodges Kawaki's swipes. Sarada then yells back at Kawaki, saying that he's being an idiot because his justification for sparring like this seems extreme. Kawaki tells her to stop whining already. Did she think that a real enemy would wait for her to keep on talking like that? Kawaki then aims his next few swipes at Sarada. She leaps into the air to dodge his attacks. Sarada then unleashes a huge fireball at him. The ninjutsu is unnamed here. Kawaki then grows his arm into a wider shield to block it. As Kawaki emerges running from the smoke, she throws multiple shuriken at him too. Yo, let me just finish anyway. They seem to have struck all over his body. Boruto seems a bit frightened by it. It didn't seem like the kind of attack that Sarada would use to just mess around. As Kawaki's body tumbles further away, it disappears. Kawaki then reemerges right behind Sarada to strike again with his arm shaped into a shear. Mitsuki points out that it was Kawaki's Kagebunshin. Boruto arrives just in time between the two of them and then blocks Kawaki's blade arm back with a kunai. Cut it out, you asshole. What are you trying to do? Kawaki says that this is just sparring. It's not like somebody will die from it. Boruto keeps trying to ask Kawaki why he's so impatient with the training and why he's taking things this far. Kawaki says, "Oh, who's the impatient one?" Sarada says that there's still little use in talking to him like this. They'll have to silence him with brute force. Boruto says, "Sorry, Sarada, but please don't interfere. I'll go handle this one-on-one." Sarada wonders what has gotten into Boruto too. What is he intending to do about Kawaki? Mitsuki says, "So the loser has to do the winner's bidding. Is that what you're proposing, Boruto?" Boruto confirms that's the case. If Boruto loses, then they'll continue training with the method that Kawaki wants. Surely Kawaki wouldn't complain about this arrangement. Kawaki agrees to this interesting development. Konohamaru and Naruto are still watching everything unfold from above, seemingly a bit more worried than before. Now quickly, first of all, I'm absolutely in love with this. I love that they're bringing Sarada Mitsuki back into the fold, bringing Konohamaru back in, even if he's just watching from afar. Like, hey, he hasn't been in the manga in like 3 years. Good, bring him back. Why not? So I like that aspect of it. I like the fact that it's actually showing a little bit more of how Kawaki is doing things. Now I'm curious, is there something more to it? Why he's going so hard with the training? Or is it just as simple as, this is how I train with Jigen, this is how you're going to get the best results to be able to go up against Code, let's do it this way? Or crazy theory right here within the spoilers, what if Kawaki knows something more about the drugs that Boruto is taking from Amado? They're in cahoots somehow, and this is all a setup, and that's why he's training real hard, because of X, Y, and Z. There's that there, but we got one more big section, and this is the last pages from 26 to 42. Boruto cracks his knuckles. A promise is a promise. He reminds Kawaki that they can't keep arguing for the sake of arguing. If he loses, Kawaki just retorts that Boruto stole his punchline and that he won't forget about what Boruto said. Sarada glares at the two of them, who are now walking straight towards each other. They're seriously both being complete idiots. Mitsuki is speechless and just observing. Boruto and Kawaki keep egging each other on and bicker for a bit until they are just a step away from each other's faces. They start off mutually punching one another in the face like dead synchronized hits into each other's cheeks. Kawaki extends his arm, but Boruto jumps back out the way. Boruto then creates two Kagebunshin to engage in taijutsu with Kawaki. Boruto then attempts a Rasengan. Kawaki fires some spires from his arm at Boruto in response, but it's just a Kagebunshin. After making some space between them, Kawaki then fires a blast from his palm at Boruto. Boruto activates Karma to absorb the giant ball of energy. To Kawaki's dismay, Boruto attempts to counter with Raiton Jinraisen. Kawaki extends his palm out to absorb it, but then suddenly realizes that he can't absorb attacks anymore. He takes the full blunt of the blast and tumbles way backwards. He then stares at the palm of his hand, which no longer has karma etched into it. Subconsciously, I was trying to absorb it all. Have I been dependent on karma even more so than I thought? Yeah. This time I won. No complaints from you, right? Sarada comments that it seems that their match is over and that she hopes they'll restrain themselves a bit more from now on instead of acting so rashly. Kawaki says, "Damn it, in a place like this too? What am I groveling here for?" Kawaki is still on his hands and knees trying to get up off the ground. He glances up and sees Konohamaru and Naruto staring down at him. How pathetic for me to be in such a pitiful state. I could imagine. He feels very bad right now. He looks up to Naruto. I wouldn't be able to protect the non-daime at all. Boruto steps down into Kawaki's view. There's at least one thing that's definitely different from when I first met you. Now I can somehow understand you, about the way you think. You burden yourself alone with some things. You should rely on us more, right? We're your friends, you know. Mitsuki, Sarada, and Kawaki are speechless. Boruto says, "Since Konoha and Dad are getting targeted by Kara, you probably feel responsible for it, but that's not your fault at all. Either way, we can't leave those bad guys alone. That's because we're shinobi, because you're one too, right?" Naruto and Konohamaru also make a few comments about the situation. Kawaki has shifted his pose on the ground now to be leaning on one side. He's propped up his head with his right arm. Kawaki sighs. Kawaki thinks that Boruto said a pretty cheeky line. Sarada also comments about Kawaki's demeanor despite him being the loser of the match. Mitsuki notes that it seems like Kawaki still has a pretty big attitude going on. Kawaki brushes him off though. He says he'll be sticking around for a little while longer with them regardless. That's their way of doing things, right? Boruto replies that it's the opposite case. They're the ones keeping him company instead. Naruto says, "Keep doing your best and work hard, you guys. You will get stronger and stronger." Boruto says, "Alrighty then, we're going to resume training. Let's start." Kawaki stares at his empty left palm again and then clutches it. "I gotta get stronger, no matter what it takes." End chapter 58. And that last bit, it definitely showcases that Kawaki is reminiscent there. This is the first time I'll say he's reminding me, aside from like the aesthetics of like, you know, the blue and shit of like early, you know, part 1 Sasuke, his impatience and desperation for power. That is reminded me of Sasuke and why he left the leap to begin with to go get Orochimaru, to help him get that power. He is desperate for power to be able to protect Naruto. The fact that you always got to go back to the beginning, him saying, "I'm going to send you the way I sent the 7th. How could he fix his mouth to say that when here all he's thinking about is how he's going to protect the 7th? So Did he send the 7 somewhere to protect him? Like, there's still so many unanswered questions, but definitely this was an important chapter. It might not be the grandest chapter. It might not be, it's going to trend everywhere and everybody's going to talk about it. But nevertheless, it was important. We needed training. We needed to bring Mitsuki, Sarada, the real Team 7, back into the full fold, all in effect. Konohamaru back, Naruto back, and when we get the full-on chapter and I get to see it all, you'll get my full-on review. But those are my thoughts for right now based on these spoilers. I'm very curious what you guys thought about it, though. How do you feel about the training? How do you feel about Kawaki's character? How do we get from this to that episode 1? It still always bothers me. And your thoughts and expectations. Again, we will get the full chapter in a couple days from now. Looking forward to it. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm from Neverworld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. And I can't wait to read this shit, honestly. It sounds hype, even though, again, not the biggest chapter, but these are important moments.
So just go to find me.